Good morning everyone, my name is Vishwas. In this video we are going to learn about how to separate the components of a mixture. Right. In order to separate the components of the mixture, we are going to opt for different processes according to the mixture. So let's start. We have learned that most of the natural substances are not chemically pure, right? So we have already done this about the pure and impure substances and about the homogeneous heterogeneous mixture too. So different methods of separation are used to get individual components from a mixture. So we have to opt for different methods. It can be physical, it can be chemical, in order to separate the components of a mixture, right? Separation make it possible to study and use the individual components of the mixture. So why do we do that? In order to study about the components of the mixture and how they are chemically combined. So heterogeneous mixture can be separated into their respective constituents by simple physical methods like handpicking, swaying, filtration that can be used in our day-to-day life. Some special techniques that we have to use for the separation of the components of the mixture are first one. So the first one is quite important one. How can we obtain color component from blue black ink, right? So let's see that. Fill half a beaker with water. As you can see in the figure, you have to fill half the beaker with water. Put a watch glass on the mouth of the beaker. Like this, you have to put a watch glass, and in that, few drops of ink you have to put on this watch glass. What will happen now? Start heating the beaker. From this burner, what you have to do, you have to provide heat to the beaker. When we do not want to heat the ink directly, you will see the evaporation is taking place from the watch glass. As you are heating the beaker, some of the heat is getting transferred to the watch glass also, and due to which the ink is started evaporating. Continue heating as the evaporation goes on and stop heating when you do not see any further change in the watch glass. You have to continue heating, or you have to continue supplying heat till you will see there is no changes going on in the watch glass. Now, what you will observe, let's see, you will observe ink is a mixture of a dye and water, right? So what happens is water evaporates at that temperature, and the we can separate the volatile component from its non-volatile solute by the method of evaporation. So as I have already told you what is volatile and non-volatile. So volatile means that evaporates at a very small temperature, right? That is water. That is we call a solvent in this case. So water evaporates at very low temperature. That's why we call it volatile. And the dye has been left behind. That is a non-volatile solute because it requires a little bit higher temperature than water in order to evaporate, right? So you have to answer these three questions. Let's see. What do you think has got evaporated from the watch glass? Obviously, water. Is there a residue on the watch glass? Yes. You will see dye. What is your interpretation? Is ink a single substance or it is a mixture? It's a mixture, obviously. That's why we can able to separate ink into two components like water and dye. So how can we separate cream from milk? Nowadays we get full cream toned and double toned varieties of milk packed in poly packs or tetra packs in the market. These varieties of milk contain different amounts of fat, right? So in order to see this 2.5 activity, just we have to read first. Take some full cream milk in a test tube, right? Then centrifuge it using a centrifuging machine for 2 minutes. I have already shown this centrifuging machine in my previous video. You can go and search it. If a centrifuging machine is not available in the school, you can do this activity by milk churner. घर पे मिल्क चर्नर होता है जिससे हम दूध वगैरह ये मक्खन वगैरह निकालते हैं, राइट? यू कैन यूज दैट चर्नर ऑल्सो. If you have a milk dairy nearby, visit it and ask how they separate cream from milk and how they make a cheese paneer from milk. So you can, if during the lockdown you cannot go out, so you can ask your mom also regarding the same, and you can observe the process of churning of milk. Kindly do that in order to have a better understanding. व्हाट डू यू ऑब्जर्व? चर्निंग मीन्स बेसिकली आपको एक वुडन पीस होता है, उसको आपको गोल गोल घुमाना होता है एक कंटेनर में। जो लाइटर पार्टिकल्स होते हैं वो सरफेस पे आ जाते हैं अब, और जो heavier particles होते हैं that settles down at the bottom in this case. Sometimes the solid particles in a liquid are very small and passes through a filter paper. For such particles, the filtration technique cannot be used for separation. Such mixtures are separated by centrifugation. So in order to separate such particles, we have to use a centrifugation, or we can call it churning also. The principle is that denser particles are forced to the bottom, as I've told you. Quite heavier and denser particles will start settling at the bottom, and the lighter particles stay at the top. Right? As when you spun it rapidly, spun means आप उसे continuous गोल गोल घुमा रहे हैं, right? So application site is used in diagnostic laboratories for blood and urine tests. This thing I have shown, the blood testing machine for diagnosing, or centrifuging machine of blood, in my previous video. You can go and watch it. Used in dairies and home to separate butter from cream, and used in washing machines to squeeze out water from wet clothes. Like, okay, today we are going to do it till here only, and hope you will try these both processes. It can be easily done at home. Stay safe, stay at home, and just get updated with your studies and help your family also. Thank you and have a nice day.